Welcome to another proven email breakdown video. Today we're taking a look at a webinar invitation email written by Harlan Kilstein, or Dr. Harlan Kilstein actually. He's not that well known apart from copywriting circles, but he's an A-list copywriter definitely. He worked a lot with John Carlton. I think he was also one of the core teachers at John Carlton's Simple Writing System program, and he mentored a bunch of other people like Chris Haddad, for example. And I broke down some of Chris Haddad's stuff in the past. Definitely check out the link to my 100-day proven sales letter breakdown playlist. You're gonna find the link to see why these types of A-list copywriters are so incredibly effective at creating winning promotions. And the other big thing about Harlan Kilstein is that he's an NLP copywriting master. I'm not that familiar with NLP copywriting. I used to kind of try to learn more about it a few years ago, but then I kind of abandoned that because, good copywriting isn't necessarily about NLP copywriting. Sure, you use some techniques, lifted from various types of NLP, but at the end of the day, you don't necessarily have to be really objectively good at NLP to be a great copywriter. But this email definitely has tons of NLP elements in it. And I'm probably not the best person to break these down specifically. However, I am a very qualified person to break down what's happening in this email and why I think it's is effective. Before we dive in, as always, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're not yet. Also share this video with this video or some of my other videos with others if you feel like they could get value from it. It definitely helps a lot. And leave a comment whenever you can, because that's also very important for YouTube's algorithm to realize that these videos are indeed valuable and promote it to more people. So the email, the subject line itself, it's a fascination. We talked about fascinations before many times. Why so many people fail at internet marketing. It's a typical why fascination. The added thing here, I think, is that so many people, this probably begs the question in the reader of oh, so am I one of those people? Because I also had failures. Most people in a super competitive niche like internet marketing or online marketing or the make money online niche, they've had tons of failures before. I also had tons of failures before. They see a course or they, buy something or try something and it promises them, everything, but that it doesn't work because, it's super hard to make everything work in your favor in this industry because there's so many hidden variables, so many things that you need to understand. Your mindset has to be, on point regarding this. It's not that easy as most people make it out to be. And then probably this subject line, which is a fascination again, probably hits at this. So why so many people fail at internet marketing? It's effective because the people who this email is going out to, they've probably also had tons of failures when it comes to internet marketing or business building, and they just want to discover why. And the email itself is not long at all. It's 150 words or something. And Harlan is one of his trademarks is he uses very, very short sentences. Every single sentence is punchy, and it doesn't. It's not inflated, it's not bloated at all. It's super punchy. Every word earns its place. And again, this is a big thing when it comes to A-list copywriters. They're masters at just eliminating all those filler words that don't do nothing. They're like empty calories if you think about it. So the email begins again. There's no so-called throat clearing copy. It just gets right into it. It says, most people don't do squat when they buy a program. And it's the truth. Actually, they just don't. This part reinforces the previous idea. A friend told me he sold a 7K program and 80% of the buyers never logged in. At a famous internet marketing conference, 90% of the audience has never even bought a domain name. And of the 10% that had, they didn't do anything with it. So what's happening here so far? We just, put something out there, which is like a fact. The next sentence reinforces this idea a little bit. This is like a subtle micro copywriting thing. I talked about micro and macro copywriting in my previous video. Check it out. Micro copywriting basically refers to all the smaller subtle things that are going on from a writing perspective, not from a strategy perspective. So, and then we have two proof elements basically, because this is a claim, and good, especially A-list copywriters, they know they have to back up every single claim with a proof element or multiple proof elements. And the first proof element is that it's a specific thing that a friend of Harlan's told him, that, you know, even though he sold that 7K program, which is pretty high ticket, 80% of buyers never logged in. It's crazy if you think about it. And at the famous internet marketing conference that's about like starting your own business, 90% of the audience have never bought a domain name, which is supposed to be step number one, right? And then even those who did, like most of them didn't do anything. I've been noticing this for years. You know, this signifies that Harlan is discovering a trend here. It's not that these people are stupid. Most are quite bright and ran successful businesses. Some of doctors and lawyers. I think this is a typo here. Some are doctors and lawyers, which actually brings up a pretty interesting thing. There's sometimes a debate going on in copywriting circles about mistakes and typos. And a lot of people think, and I'm not sure about this to be completely honest, but if you are, like, leave a comment. What do you think about this? A lot of people think that if you make typos, that could be a strategic move to increase your readability, because yes, it will, you know, turn some people off. The grammar Nazis, they're gonna, a typo is gonna probably turn them off. But it's something different that shouldn't be there, and our brains notice it, and our subconscious brains notice it, which means we pay more attention. So according to this hypothesis, if you make just a few, maybe even deliberate typos, it's going to increase your readability, because our subconscious brains who are reading it, we are going to notice it, right? And it's like we feel like it's something different, something that shouldn't be there, which increases attention for a little bit. So this is the hypothesis. I haven't seen any like conclusive proof to back this up again, but if you have proof or personal experience, you know, a lot of high-level copywriters are watching these videos. Leave a comment. Let me know. I'm really curious whether this is true or not. But safe to say, you know, this part, it shows that, you know, Harlan discovered the trend. Then he has a slight objection handling element, which says, you know, it's not that these people are stupid. It's not your fault, basically. This is the it's not your fault part. Like, it's not your fault, you've just been misled, or you have some, I don't know, baggage that you got from your parents, and then nobody showed you how to, you know, deal with this baggage, and stuff like that. This part, it shifts the blame away from people, because once people feel like you are blaming them, they're not going to buy, or they're not going to click, because they feel offended, or you know, they just feel like, you know, I just don't want to deal with this right now. That's what they'll feel. So next we set up the problem. But when it comes to internet marketing, there's this dark cloud in the skies that stops them from taking action. Dark cloud in the sky. What a nice way to paint, you know, pictures. As copywriters, we're painting pictures. People are super visual. Our brains evolved to be mostly visual, and how we form mental representations. This is a cognitive psychology thing that I studied extensively during my university studies. We form mental images, and from a brainwaves perspective, there's not much difference between seeing something in real life with your eyes or imagining something with your internal inner eye. And that's also one of the reasons why visualization works to some extent. Because once you visualize something, it's almost similar to seeing it in real life. So if you visualize and you start writing down that you want to earn $10,000 a month as a freelancer, in this case, let's say, and you write that down, I don't know, 20 times every day for months, your mind is going to start to accept it as almost reality. So I know this might sound a little woo-woo, but do your own research, read about this. There are all sorts of people, some of them who are diehard believers in this idea, some of them who are more skeptical. I kind of fall in between the middle. You know, I'm a scientific guy. I like things that are backed up by proof. But it's definitely something that has a lot of potential here. So I especially recommend the book Psycho-Cybernetics. It's from Maxwell Gladwell, maybe. And Dan Kennedy heavily promoted this at some point. He's a big believer in it. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this little side note. Let's get back to the email. So when it comes to internet marketing, there's the dark cloud. Yeah, this is a great example of show and don't tell. Let's stop wondering why and do something about it instead. So this is kind of like a call to arms to solve the problem. This Thursday night is going to turn your life upside down. This is a future-pacing element. And you know what? Since there are so many things happening here, and it breaks up the flow, and as I'm talking about it, let me read the rest of the email in without interruptions, and then let's analyze it, because then you'll feel exactly how well this flows and why it's a great example of good copywriting. So let's stop wondering why and do something about it instead. This Thursday night is going to turn your life upside down. My special guest works with people who have blockages in their life. Normally, these people have problems going from 7 to 8 figures. So to get you to 6 or 7 figures should be easy. He's going to share some strategies with you designed to produce immediate change. I've worked with him for about 2 years. I've told my very best friends and even family members about him. This could quite possibly be the most important webinar I've ever hosted. You should be there. Register here. Or in case Aweber turns into gibberish, and there's a link. Do not miss this webinar. Peace, Harlan. So on the surface, again, this seems like a normal conversation. It doesn't sound very marketese or copywriting like, but that's good. That's the aim here. The best copy, it's covert. It's not overt at all. It doesn't sound like hypey promotional language or something like that. It just sounds like how people actually talk. And it's surprisingly hard to write like that. Believe me. I'm also struggling a lot with that many times. So what's happening here? Again, we set up the problem. We invite people to like this adventure. Like, hey, come and join this discovery adventure with us. And then there's a little future pacing that something is happening that's going to turn your life upside down. And this is again like an NLP element. I'm not an expert at deconstructing specific NLP elements because I don't remember any of those things anymore that much. But something like this is definitely, it paints that visual picture and it future paces something which probably qualifies as an NLP element. Then we have some credibility build up regarding this mysterious guest. Who can he be? I don't know. Maybe it's Brent from that. He's like a mindset coach and psychologist and therapist who works with a lot of these entrepreneurs. I don't know exactly, but I think it's intentional that Harlan is not giving away because he wants people to click. And then I love this credibility build up section. Like he works with people who have blockages, and this is interesting because it doesn't talk about like, hey, it helps people add an extra 10K a month to their bottom line or something like that. He talks about blockages. What blockages, right? So people are interested in it. This is like the unique mechanism of the problem, as Stephen Georgi would talk about this, like blockages. So it means that there's a specific, unique reason why you are having problems. And it has something to do with probably blockages when it comes to money that you inherited from your parents, or, there are a lot of people have blockages when it comes to money or in their lives. And this is preventing them from reaching 6, 7, 8 figures. Not because they don't have skills, it's because they have blockages. So this covertly assumes that if you solve those things, then you'll be able to be more successful. And you see how we're basically seeding the idea for a unique mechanism of the solution Like, my specific method, like that's going to happen probably in the webinar. It's like my specific proprietary method is the only one that's specifically designed to help you deal with these blockages so you can unlock your hidden potential or something like that. That's probably what's going to happen. But this is seeding the idea, which is very important for later conversions to happen. Then we have a prediction, like, and it makes sense, right? Like, if this guy normally works with people to get to 7 or 8 figures, like, it should be easy to help you get to 6 figures, right? Because it's like the bar is set so low, actually, in your case. He's going to share some strategies that's teasing. It's not like, 3 strategies. That could be like a specific element, which is beneficial in its own, but some strategies, sometimes this also works. And this email, it has, like, the second part of the email, it definitely has a lot of curiosity going on here. So that's probably why Harlan chose some instead of 3. And notice how, like, we're basically pixel peeping here. We're talking about specific connecting word choices. And this is what micro-copywriting is about, right? Every single word has to earn its place. And how do you choose that word which serves the message the most in this case? And that's why it's so hard to be a copywriter. One of the reasons why, because it takes a lot of skill and experience and knowledge and effort to really come up with a message that just clicks right there. Immediate change, people want fast results, and we're teasing that this is going to give them fast results. And then we have proof elements. Like, again, this is kind of a promise, and we learned that you have to back up promises with proof elements. The first proof element is that I, as Harlan, worked with him for 2 years. So it must mean that this guy is legit, right? Because otherwise I would be an idiot person to not work. I would be an idiot to work with someone who isn't good, right? So he must be good. And I even told my friends, even family members, about him. Again, this adds more proof and credibility to this mysterious guy. This could quite possibly be the most important webinar I've ever hosted. Like, talk about that. Harlan hosted a lot of webinars. He's very big in the keto niche, by the way. He has like a multi-7-figure business selling keto stuff. And saying this, something like this, it has punch, right? Okay, maybe he says these types of things maybe too often, but it signifies that, this unique new opportunity, again, the unique new opportunity, that's what we talked about in the last email and the email before that. You always have to have like a unique new opportunity. That's the key to your number one desire, and it's only attainable through your unique mechanism. So I think this just adds more, it builds more desire for this whole thing. You should be there. This is like an embedded command. This is NLP stuff, definitely. And register here, simple call to action button, nothing fancy, or in case Aweber turns into gibberish, and here's the link. So he's using Aweber, and probably this is like a preemptive conversion optimization element, because sometimes they're probably having problems with deliverability, or links not working or something like that. And instead of changing his entire email backend, probably Harlan found that it's easier to just put a link here and solve the problem, like patch up the problem for now. Do not miss this webinar. Again, this is a command, like a very specific command, which you can do at the end of the email, because at this point people are warmed up enough to be more receptive to these commands. If you do these commands very early on, it might backfire. Peace, Harlan. And that's it. That's the email. I think it's a good example of how to write like a relatively short email inviting people to a webinar. But this could also be like a landing page, a lead magnet, something like that. It could be a perfect example of a Facebook ad, for example. This would be a great Facebook ad, right? It gives people some value, it shifts some of their beliefs or something. a little bit, and it teases a unique new opportunity. It provides them with some proof elements, and then, you know, call to action. It's actually a great Facebook ad. Or maybe even a short form YouTube ad as well. And this is how you see how good copy can universally be used. And that's why it's so important for you to learn the essential fundamentals of direct response copywriting and messaging and marketing. Because if you understand all this, it doesn't matter what type of copy you have to write, or it doesn't matter what kind of marketing you have to do, because you know the fundamentals and you know what makes a message, you know, persuasive, and what makes a message boring or lackluster or something like that. And that's why I also recommend you check out my 100-day proven sales letter breakdown challenge videos, link in the description, because over the course of 100 days, I broke down 100 world-class ads, some of the best of all time, to figure out why they worked and what made them so effective. So I definitely recommend you check that out. And if you want to learn more about emails, I have a nifty little 5-part mini course. It's called the 5 Principles of Sending Rainmaker Emails. Definitely recommend you check that out as well, because you're gonna learn even more stuff about the fundamental principles, right? We talked about the principles before of email copywriting and email marketing, and it's delivered via email, but it has some pretty cool elements, gamified elements to it. So I think you're gonna love it. So yeah, check it out and see you in the next one.